What if I'm stuck working late at the office?
How about a personal-sized frozen pizza?
It's pizza night, but if your cash and time are limited, maybe it's a trip to the freezer instead of a call to Dominos. So to help you avoid the pitfalls, here are 10 big mistakes everyone makes with frozen pizza. Don't under or overspend.
How much do you spend on food?
Incredibly, the cost of frozen pizza has a range that doesn't seem possible for a single dish meal. There are frozen varieties that cost as little as $1.50, yes, that is US dollars, to $19.50, yes, also US dollars. Do you go to the bottom of the barrel to save some cash, or do you splurge because, well, you want the best? Thinking rationally and hopefully not on a totally empty stomach, do you really want an entire meal that only costs $1.50? That's for the whole pizza, not just a slice. Is it really made from honest-to-goodness food? Doesn't the packaging alone cost more than that?
That's not possible?
Okay, let's consider the other end of the price range. Almost $20 more after you add tax for only one frozen pizza. Is it topped with filet mignon and gold flakes? Both ends of the price range seem extreme. So shoot for the middle or upper middle if you're a pizza enthusiast. You want good quality food products without breaking the bank. On average, a frozen pizza that costs between $5 and $6 will satisfy your craving without leaving you penniless. Don't toss it in the oven frozen.
Well, this is frozen.
No one likes a soggy crust. Unfortunately, that's what you're likely to get if you put your pizza in the oven frozen. That little layer of frost on your still frozen pizza will turn to steam and soak your crust and ingredients into a less than desirable mushy mess. Sure, you're starving, but letting your pizza thaw will ensure that you enjoy every bite you've been waiting for. Consider pizzas made from scratch, which you don't have time and patience for tonight. They're not made with frozen ingredients. Cooking time is based on room temperature to ensure optimal results.
Good pizza.
Yeah?
So if you put a frozen pizza in the oven frozen, it's already behind the game and being cooked the way it was designed. For your frozen pizza, the drive home from the mega store may be enough time for it to thaw. Or if you take it out of the freezer at home, let it sit while you turn on the oven, serve up drinks, assemble a side dish, put the lunch dishes in the dishwasher, or catch up on Facebook and Instagram. If you're not into multitasking, just sit and relax for a few quiet moments. An added benefit of pizza night is to have some extra time to unwind. Don't put it in a preheating oven.
Did I leave the oven on, or is that just you, hot stuff?
While waiting for your pizza to thaw, this is the perfect time to crank up the oven. Your pizza box will indicate the optimal temperature, and it's usually pretty high. Most brands recommend 450 degrees or even higher. Since the temperature needs to be so high, it will take a little longer than you're used to for your oven to preheat. But this is a vital step in making sure you're going to get your pizza perfectly cooked and the way you want it. If you're using a pizza stone or a cookie sheet, preheat it as well. Coordinating your oven and bakeware to the same and correct temperature guarantees your pizza will be cooked at the proper temperature from the beginning, right until that timer goes ding.
My fajitas!
Cooking times will vary depending on the type of crust you have and the kind of toppings you choose. Always check your pizza during cooking to be sure you are cooking it just enough for a softer crust, if that is what you like, or a bit longer if you prefer a little crunch around the edge. Putting the pizza in before everything is preheated might result in an undercooked meal. And once the pizza is out of the oven and cut, there's no going back. You've got to get it right the first time. Don't cook it in the packaging.
No! God, please, no! No!
This may seem obvious to most, but in today's world of on-the-go, easy prep food, it might slip under your radar. After all, foods designed to be prepared in the microwave are almost always cooked in the package. If your pizza is meant to be heated in the microwave, carefully check the box for cooking instructions. You may be able to use the oven if you want a crispier crust. If you do go with oven heating, tossing the packaging is always your best bet.
Throw it away.
First of all, it's just not safe to put a box in an oven. Cardboard, extreme heat, and especially a flame in a gas oven are ingredients for fire. You're not camping outdoors, nor do you want to turn your house into timber. And that plastic wrap? Yes, it is keeping the frozen toppings on top where they belong, but if you leave it on, well, plastic melts at even moderate temperatures, and it will be impossible to remove from your pizza. Even if you've opted for the super easy prep and quick cooking microwave variety, you'll have rendered it inedible. So, how do you keep the ingredients on the pizza? Well, that question conveniently leads us to our next entry. Don't leave the ingredients just the way they are.
Don't be afraid to improvise.
When you do take the plastic wrapping off of the pizza, the frozen toppings don't always stick in place and usually fall off. It's likely they have all fallen to one side during transport or storage. You can and should rearrange your toppings to evenly cover the top of your pizza. It just wouldn't be fair for all the pepperoni to be only on a slice or two. If you leave the ingredients the way they are when you unwrap your pizza, planning to rearrange them after cooking, you'll miss the gun. At the least, you will have an arduous time removing the toppings that have now been sealed on their spot with the melted cheese. So much for a relaxing, well-deserved pizza night.
It's too much! It's too much!
There's just no separating the cheese from the toppings at this point. Also, if you leave the toppings all huddled together at one edge of the pizza, they probably won't cook thoroughly. For a little insurance and added protection, once your toppings are perfectly arranged, try sprinkling a little extra cheese on top to hold them in place. Mozzarella is the traditional go-to choice for pizza topping, but if you want to be a little exotic, try a different melting cheese like cheddar or Monterey Jack. In pizza theory, there is no such thing as too much cheese. Don't pre-cut.
Like it, don't cut it.
You're thinking you want to save some time once the pizza's out of the oven, or you remember the time you cut your pizza a little too soon after baking and the super soft cheese and all the toppings got pulled off along with your knife. What a disappointment! And there's no way to fix something like that.
But nothing that can't be fixed.
So you think, aha, I'll just cut it before I bake it. You find a cutting device sharp enough to cut through all the frozen ingredients and away you go. Unfortunately, when you take your pizza out of the oven, you will probably discover that the cheese, as it has melted, has slipped down the sides and dragged the ingredients with it. It seems to have found every little crack or crevice to seep down into. Half your pizza is a near-bare crust, and the other half is a cheese blob. Totally not what you wanted. Leaving your pizza whole while cooking it keeps everything neatly in its place and makes sure it still comes out looking like a pizza. Don't neglect the crust.
You can have my pizza crust.
Not all crusts are created equal. The number of crust choices matches that of anything you could order in a restaurant. Thin, hand-tossed, rising, stuffed, homemade, artisan, deep dish, deluxe, French bread, classic, and crisp cut are a few options and certainly not an extensive list. Consider how different some of them are and think to yourself, they shouldn't all be cooked the same way or for the same time. If you have a deep dish crust, it should come out thick and soft. If you have a thin or crisp cut pizza, the crust will be more well done and crispier. They shouldn't be prepared alike. To keep a deep dish crust softer, you might consider baking it in a pan that covers the sides, like a baking dish, preheated, of course.
Remember that.
This way, the outer edge of the crust is not exposed to the dry oven heat. On the flip side, if you want a firmer crust with a little crunch, you will probably want to cook it on a stone or directly on the oven rack, and brush it with some olive or other high smoking point oil. The oil won't make the crust soggy if you apply it pre-baking. Never apply it after baking, even if the pizza is still hot. All that will do is leave you with a slippery, greasy mess on your hands. Adding extras and keep it light.
Let's keep it light.
Adding some extra ingredients to your frozen pizza is a great idea to dress it up a bit and make you feel like you're really splurging. Can one ever have too much pepperoni? Certainly not if you're a pizza connoisseur. Remember the earlier step, make sure your pizza is thawed before baking it. Here you'll want to remember to add room temperature meats and even cook the veggies a little bit before sprinkling them atop your pie. Of course, some people like a little crunch to their veggies, some like more tenderness when it comes to cooked vegetables. The beauty of designing your own pizza creation is you have an opportunity to prepare everything just the way you like it. You may want to dice up some peppers and onions and saute them for a couple of minutes, just long enough to get the cooking started. If you want olives, you can just drain them and add them right out of the can. How much should you add? There's a bit of a delicate line here, and it is better to remember the old adage, sometimes less is more.
Less is more with me.
If you smother your pizza with extra toppings, you won't get that beautiful, slightly browned cheese on top. You'll also weigh it down, and everything will droop and fall off as soon as you lift the first slice to your mouth. If you do add some extra yummies, go ahead and add some extra cheese, too. Don't cut it right away.
Be patient.
It's hard to wait. You've prepared everything from the oven to the crust to the extra toppings, and your pizza is finally done. You've been waiting long enough, but give it just 2 or 3 minutes more and you won't regret it. Have another bite of that salad you made. Take a picture and send it to your mom so she knows you're cooking and eating at home. Do whatever it takes to wait just a bit longer. While your pizza was cooking in the cranked up oven, oh right, turn the oven off now. Everything was rising from the heat. Once out of that scorching environment, the toppings and cheese need to settle and solidify just a bit. You took such care to put everything in perfect place before baking. Now it all needs to stay put.
Stay put.
Cutting too soon will cause some ingredients to stick to your pizza cutter or knife and drag them along the edges. Neither one of these catastrophes is what you planned on. Additionally, and equally important, is to recollect previous experiences. And remember, there's nothing more disappointing than burning your tongue and roof of your mouth with the first bite of pizza that's too hot. It ruins the rest of the meal, and meals the next day for that matter. Patience is a virtue and should be practiced when dealing with a hot pizza. Don't use a knife.
You're gonna let me use this knife?
It seems like common sense to use a knife to cut something, especially if it's cooked food. Pizza, though, is in a class all by itself. Sure, a knife will work, but your perfect frozen pizza deserves only the best. If you'll be having frequent pizza nights and you've discovered that you can easily make your own frozen variety at home, invest in a pizza cutter. For just a few extra dollars and a one-time purchase, the pièce de résistance is that first perfectly cut slice.
Perfect. It's absolutely perfect.
If you indulged in that extra cheese, brush a scant amount of olive oil on the blade for a seamless swipe from edge to edge. If your crust is deep dish and more soft, or thin and extra crispy, you'll want to put a little muscle into your cutting so your cuts go clear through to the bottom. Impress the family with your swift, precise cutting techniques just like the professionals at the top Italian restaurants. They'll be completely dazzled at how you've become a frozen pizza virtuoso. It's okay to show off a little. First time here? Then leave us a comment and hit that subscribe button. And for another great video, just tap or click.